Start back up. Alright, good. Oh, but it stopped. Fuck. Alright, guys. Sorry about that. My connection did drop. So, alright. Oh, fuck. Alright, I'm gonna give people a few minutes to come back in. I don't know why my connection just went off. I'm just gonna have to name this part 2. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's shut down. It's sad. Yeah, I got bear with me because this is using this OBS. The other one never did this, but this is a new computer and stuff. So bear with me. But does that sound good on my end? I was waiting for people to come back on. Oh, I'm gonna give people a few minutes. All right, good. Let's continue. Like I was saying before, since then the population growth has been slowly, and along with the doubling time is the visualization we have used in the UN projection to show how doubling time is projected and change until the end of the century. By 2088, it will once again take it nearly 100 years for the population to double to a predicted 11 billion. And it shows here again, this is how it's going to start declining. Once 2020 hit, it's going to dip further. And it said it will surge back up by the next century. But this is my thing. And a lot of people not gonna like what I'm about to say. We all heard they try to reduce population to a manageable number. There are some said that they want the population of people globally be at around 4 billion, from 7 or close to 8 billion to 4 billion within sometime this century. And some said that the population should be reduced to 500. So there are many scenarios to think about when they trying to reduce population. Okay, and it shows here another statistic how long it took to grow from a billion. And 1 billion increase. The visualization below provides additional perspective of population growth and the number of years it took to add 1 billion to the global population. Also shown in this figure is the number of years projected up to 11 billion based on the UN medium variation projection. This visualization shows again how the population growth rate has changed dramatically through time. It wasn't until 1803 that the world reached its first billion. It then took another 124 years to reach 2 billion. By the third billion, this period has reduced to 33 years, reducing further to 15 years to reach 4. The period of fast growth occurs through 1975 to 2011, taking only 12 years to increase by 1 billion. And for the 5th and 6th and 7th, the world has now surpassed this peak rate of growth, and the period between each billion is expected to continue to rise. Its estimation to take approximately 13 years to reach 8 billion in 2024, as further 14 years to reach 9 billion 2038, 18 years to reach 10 billion 2056, and a further 32 years to reach 11 billion by 2080. Now, mind you, listen to me good. And Xavier, if you can you please share this video if you're not on your phone to the other people, other sites and stuff? I would do it, but because this thing went down, I'm not gonna share it again right now. We can do it for me, brother. Um, Remember I told you it's gonna reach 8 billion by 2023 or 2022. And the reason why I said it potentially is gonna reach that, regardless how people said they estimate, is because I look at the population now and where it's already growing. And once it reaches 8 billion, I think it's going to start stagnate and it's going to decrease much faster. Here they're projected we're going to reach 7 billion by the end of the century. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, if they talking about they want to kill and reduce the population to a manageable number, the people that sit there plot to reduce population, people, particularly people that are actually non-white, you can't afford the population to keep doubling every 5 to less than 10 years. Because if you're struggling to populate and everybody else is having an easy time populating, particularly melanated people, African people around the world, then you have to do something differently to start reducing the numbers. And mind you, they said we're going to reach 8 billion by 2024. And they said every year it says it's supposed to reach, estimated takes approximately 13 years to reach this plateau. It will not reach 8 billion by 2024. It's going to reach there within 2022 at most. And I'm just only putting a number to be nice. Usually I can give them another year, but usually in the next, let me see, 1, 2, in the next 3 years, that's just being nice. Unless something happens. So as I scroll down, if anything else I wanted to look at. And there's more to this article. I'm not going to go into this because this will be long drawn, as y'all could tell. Right now, they're saying here, the population growth by country. What are the most populated countries in the world? Over the last century, the world has been rapidly populating growth. But how is population distributed across the world? Which countries have the most people? In the map below, we see estimated population of each country in 2019. To see how this has changed since 1800, you could use the play button and timeline, a button left of the chart. By clicking of any country, you can see how its population has evolved over the period. Here we are at the top 5 most populated countries. As you see, they said China is one, India, United States, Indonesia, Brazil. Have y'all noticed they did not talk about Africa in this? Have y'all noticed this? One second. Before I continue, let me do this. I gotta do this for a second, people. All right. Don't mind me, guys. I'm just doing something for a second. I'm probably gonna reshare this, and I have to do this because the stream did end abruptly, and it would not be fair to let everybody know that I just stopped. At times, I wish I can correct these live streams, but using this type of software now, it's gonna be a problem now moving forward. But this is what I expected. Bear with me. Okay. All right, I just reshare back that. Okay. All right, my live stream is healthy. Okay, let me refresh my, my chat room. Let me see if I could do that. I think I could be able to refresh the chat room. Um, all right. Yeah, I don't think the chat room can be refreshed. Actually, I think it could be. Can it? Yes, I could. I could refresh the chat room. Let's see, chat room. There we go. So everybody can see in the chat room. It's been refreshed. Okay. So, like I said before, they're not being really honest with this. They said the only population highest is China. They're not really talking about Africa, and I know Africa got 1 billion people, but they're not even close to the mark. And it tells you the bias, and we could say racist, but these are people that control the information, so they're not gonna keep it honest about how much black people on the globe. They're gonna give you a snippet of everybody else because it has to show the illusion at the end of the day that they are the original people. They're the ones that have the numbers. Everybody else that is less than white down the spectrum, the color spectrum, are less and are not even the majority population of this earth. Remember, the whole purpose of propaganda or warfare is letting you know, say you don't have the numbers. So if you don't have numbers, you cannot put up a decent fight. It is a psychological battle when they put in people's head that when you can't amount why bother resist, why to bother to do something different or to change your situation because when you don't have the numbers, you're hopeless. That's what they're trying to put into everybody's thinking. People that are non-white. Keep that in mind. So I'm just gonna stroll down a little further. Let me share this. Okay. Okay. As I look here, nothing really new. It said, when will the world stop growing? How do we know the population growth is coming to an end? The world is reaching peak child. Following decades of very fast population growth, there is often concern that the population growth is out of control. That's an end to growth is not in sight. But we know this is part true. Population growth is slowly and will come to an end. How do we know? The world is approaching peak child. The moment the demographics history when the number of children in the world stops increasing, this is a preeminent of the moment in history when the population stops increasing. The world is approaching what late Hans Rosling called the age of peak child. The solid purple line in the visualization indicates the total population of people under the age of 5. And dotted purple line shown projection for this age group through 2001 or 21. As we can see, we are not far away from the largest cohort of children that there will likely ever be. The gray lines show the total world population. You expect an end to population growth as the number of children in the world begins to decrease. This is an extraordinary moment in global history. In the past, only 2 children per woman reached adulthood. If you more had survived, the population size would have not been stable. This also means that the extended families with many children that we often associate with in the past was only a reality. For a glimpse, in the time only the few generations during the population boom lived in families with many children. Before and after two children are the norm, the future will resume our past exception that the children are not dying but are never born in the first place. Between 1950 and today, it was mostly a widening of entire pyramids that was responsible for the increase of the world population. What is responsible for the increase of the world population from now on is not a widening of the basis, but a fill up of population above the basis. Not children will be added to the world population, but the people in working age and old age. At a country level, peak child is followed by a time in which the country benefits from a demographic dividend or divided end of the demographic structure of a country is reshaping so that a proportion of the people in the work age raise and that the dependent young generation falls. The demographic dividends can result in a rise of production, contribution, and a growth in a growing economy. There is reason to expect that the world has and whole benefit from a demographic divide. The big demographic transition of the world enters more than a century ago is coming to an end. Global population growth peaks half a century ago. The number of babies is reaching its peak, and the age profile of the women in the world is changing, so that population momentum is slow or slowing, losing its momentum. This is not to say that the feeding and supporting is still raising world population will be easy, but we are certainly on the way to a new balance where it's not a high mortality keeping population growth in check, but low fertility rates. And as you can see, the projection, more projections to come. They said we'll reach a peak, but as you look from previous ones, they show that it's going to be a decline. Now, mind this is an estimation of statistics. And they always project how many people are going to be in the world. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it always depends on fertility rates moving forward. They arrange projection for future population of growth. These different based on two key factors: the change in fertility rates and life expectancy over time. As y'all know, more people are living. That's just the conclusion of it. And there are people that are more living but are not producing replacement. We have more older people than younger people, particularly people that are non-black are the ones that's living long, still around, but they're not producing any offspring. Non-blacks, which most people that are not black don't have this problem at this time. But if you are black, you're good. If you're non-black, you might have a problem in regards to replacement. All right. Yes. And there's this more. All right. So let me go down. And it shows what the future population will look like, which is estimation, which they only go by data and numbers. And usually it always depends on death and birth is always the determinant of where population is going. I'm just scrolling down. And it looks like the same. And we're not going into detail because this would be too long of a video. All right. I think I'm just going to reach to the end, see where this ends up. There's the data part. All right. All right, and that's it. And let me stop sharing. I mean, I hope that I get that point. But I did like an estimation number of, let's say we're trying to reduce a population. Let's say they want a population of down to right now projecting 7.7 billion down to, let's say, 4 billion. I can do a calculator and see what I'll get. All right, let's say 4 billion. Actually, let me see if I could show my calculator. All right, I guess the calculator is not showing on my screen, so I will stop sharing. Okay, let's calculate this. 4 billion. And we're going to divide that by, let's say, 7.7 billion. Let me see what I get. I get roughly, and let me see if I can get this in percentage. We're looking at over 50%. I could be wrong. Roughly over 52%. But that's a projection. If that means that's more than half, over half. So to get from close to 7 or almost close to 8 billion to 4 billion, you have to reduce the population near 52%. And I'm explaining how they will go, how the process in regards to reducing population people in a second. So now let's deal with the actual projection number that was the original estimation where they want in regards to a reasonable population of people. Let's take 500 we want a population of 500,000 people. What percent that would be? All right, let's divide that by 7.7 billion. And miraculously, we put percentage, you're looking at roughly 65%, which is much greater. 6.49 something. So, and mind you, if I can remember, there was documentaries talking about they want to reduce world population of people and reduce it by 90%, which is much more greater. But that was over 20 years ago, maybe 30 now. I think it was Mr. Kissinger that wanted population to be reduced to that, and a lot of people came up with this percentage. But that is a number in regards which is reasonable to deal with population people. But for their this particular data that I read titled World Population Growth, they say it's going to reach a peak and start to dip and decline by the next century. But as we know, the times we're in now, they really want to kickstart this reduction now. They do not want to wait until it reached a so-called plateau of 11 billion by 21,000. And really, I think it's going to grow much faster than that, than 21,000. But like I said before, there are methods to what to do in regards to reducing population. So how you could accomplish this? Because we asked that this is what they want projected as a management number, 4 billion now. That's the projection number management to deal with in regards to population of people. But let's say we want it down to 500 people. We always gotta know, say, what steps will take to get that happen. And I'm gonna give you a number at the end of this video. And since nobody else is here watching it, I'm gonna give you a number on what set of people will remain that will make the amount of the existing population that should be projected or they wanted projection. One, to reduce population of people, you control food. Now everybody knows that today, in the world we live in today, a lot of farmers are not farming and producing real food. Now I know it's hard for people to believe that. I remember my good friend Mr. Gray said that farmers are getting paid by big governments not to farm, which is a bad thing because they're not farming. That means somebody else is growing your food. And normally most farmers today are growing GMO foods. Oh no, I see you, Xavier. I'm looking at the chat now from my other device. Because my stream cut down, a lot of people probably didn't stay on. But let me continue. Let's listen on. Another thing with the food, and y'all know me, I had an actual farmer on my stream months ago, and I will bring him back again to update you on what he's doing. This man, Terrence Miller, is a biomedical farmer. He deals with indigenous food, food that was not been not only tempered by man, but still exists in nature. Oh, Xander, sorry, Xander. Sorry, sorry, brother. Food, and what I mean by indigenous food, this food, which the book that he's supposed to come out, hopefully he'll come out this year if he finish, is supposed to revolutionize how we look at food, what food looks like before man start take whatever seed or species of food and start manipulating, creating these genetically altered foods, superfoods, hybrid foods. He grows real food, and he's the only one I know right now that's in existence that's doing it. I cannot speak anybody else doing it right now because I don't see a lot of people growing food in the right way. They'll grow some hydroponic food, some other food, but you always gotta go back to where are they getting their seeds from to make this food? Where's the seeds coming from? You're going back to the same people that is taking and manipulating the same food to give to you to grow for you to eat. And we have to understand food is one of the three elements every human being needs to survive: food, clothing, and shelter. Okay. Okay, my chat room is up to date now. So let me exit out this chat room from my device because it's working out. I can't see it from my phone. I don't know why. Let me see if I can correct that. Okay, I see y'all now in the chat room. All right, perfect. So now, with food, food is controlled. And with food, it manipulates the genomes of people genetically and it alters your genes. It messes with your chromosome, which whatever chromosome you have now, which I think what's the average chromosome, 23? It adds an extra chromosome, which manipulates and alters your biological makeup. So by altering people's genes, it alters their health. It doesn't make people live longer. It slowly decreases and kills them much more at a faster rate because the human body is designed to only hold certain genomes. And eating certain what we call monster foods interrupts our genetics. I wish I could explain more on this because I have the PDF, but this stream is not really the purpose of explaining more details of the genetic makeup. That'll be in future streams. But food is weapon now, and that is used as one component to control population. Not only starvation, but it affects everything else in regards how you eat and how your health is gonna move forward. Health is another thing because they control the medical establishment. They'll feed you drugs and all that stuff to keep you around, but internalized it will kill you slowly. Your organs will stop functioning after a while if you got certain disease, whether you have high blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems, or cancer. All that's controlled by drugs. And the drugs and the chemos you take to stay around will do more harm than good. And drugs can be used as a weapon to also depopulate too. Because it also, if you're not careful, could mess with your fertility from men and women. Um, and I know there's a lot of women that go in the hospital because we're dealing with health, but we could say like the medical side, they are getting what they call sterilized by having their wombs removed, where they're having what they call hysterectomies, force or implied hysterectomies, but nonetheless going through the institution. If you're a non-white female, most likely your chance of giving birth to more than one child in institution, what we call hospital, very much is much greater. That's why you hear stories of a lot of women that go in the hospitals and they die in a deathbed sometimes, or they lucky to survive giving birth. This is a new phenomenon. This never existed 25 years ago, much less 30 years ago. But now this is a problem now, and usually that's a result going back to our health of our people, and also food is a component of that. The only solution I can give most women is that you have to do the best you can to really mitigate your consumption in regards to certain foods, and you might have to do some more fasting while exercising if you can. So health is another issue. Also with men, one thing with men worry about dying is like the same things: high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, same way. Even prostate issues, prostate problems. That's another thing men have to worry about, unfortunately. And another thing, and make sure you guys like the video because the video stream kind of stopped. If you can, what else I wrote on here? I would say housing and economics, but that's all one the same when in regards to money. You hear this component where a lot of people, particularly men, they complain that most women should not be having these babies because a lot of them feel that they're not ready to take care of the kid, do all this, but they sure is ready to engage in intercourse and procreation activity, which I find that very odd. But that's another story. But like I said before, if you complain that you don't have the funds to really start a family or raise a family, then maybe you should not be engaged in casual sex. That's just me. Because everybody knows casual sex to the average man or woman here in the West, we call America or just Western culture, will lead to babies. And a lot of us have not really understand how to use our sex organs properly, so we don't really deal with or create life. But like I said, economics play a role in also the decline of a population of people. But usually most people that are poor or so-called poor still have is more babies. So really truly, I'm putting it on the list that it is effective, and is used as a weapon, but it's not really effective in certain parts of the world. Only America is effective, most likely, and people really take on that effectiveness because they've been conditioned to say, you have more children, it's not only going to be a problem burden too, but it's going to be expensive. And the reason why it makes it expensive is because they're trying to cut back on a certain set of people. You don't see them talk about this from the other side of the community that is predominantly non-black. But if it's something that's non-white, yes, it's a problem. They'll condition you all day, every day. Say, don't even have babies. Some will tell most of the African women here in this country, say it's better off you abort them than anything else because you don't have the money to deal with it. You work too much, you can't cover it, so just don't bother bring life here. All this I'm saying is just a game here, people. I want y'all to understand this. Because like I said, they're trying to project, they want to cut the population in half. They want to reduce it by 52 to 65%. And we're talking about they want to reduce it to close to wherever the population is now to 7.7 billion to down to 4 billion or 500 people, 500,000 people. And the only way you could accomplish this, you have to stifle and cut back the people that have no problem having children back substantially. Right now, people here in the West, we call America, the average child per child for each black parent, either single or both, either together or separate, most non-white women have an average of close to 2 children, or zero. 0.2, or 0.1, or 0.15. And usually people now that you find that's having babies are in their late 30s for melanated women, black women, ADOS women. Most Caucasian women don't even have 0.1 or more than 0.2 children on the average. They're having less than that, probably less than 1 now, if they can have them. So to condition the melanated woman, the African woman, to only having less babies, only hurts black people much more down the line, which a lot of black males are fine with most black females or black women having less children. And their reason because usually a lot of men don't want to step up and deal with handling or raising these children that are here or not here or going to be here. So keep that in mind. Think on that good what I just said. And one of the last and final things is sex. Hold on. Yeah. Hello? Hold on a second. Let me do this. Can you hear me? I got. Oh, I see. I got my earmuffs. Hold on. What you said? What you said? Yeah, I'm back on. It dropped a little bit. No, I didn't put. You want to put it on speaker? All right, guys. What you're going to hear is the great Liberator returning to my stream. Amiri Brown. Say what's up, Mary.
Yeah.
All right, you're on.
Okay, yeah. What's up, man?
I'm good, man.
So you talking about what the population control and stuff like that?
It's yeah, that's the whole premise. But I like to call it, reducing from 1 billion to 100. I don't really reference as a population. Well, it is population control, but this is the way how I say it. You get me?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. One thing. Let me finish this one thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody give eyebrows. Yeah. It's Mary. Xanders. I say sex. People don't understand. Sex is the only thing that keeps any species going. People that control the sex controls species of people or any species altogether. Now, what I mean by this, as y'all know, for the last 50 years, even now present 20 to 30 years, they have especially here in the West, we call America, they have created and pushed a movement, what we titled the LGBT movement. And there are other factors that were in this movement, but the purpose of pushing it and giving laws, everything to them, is the purpose of a weapon. Oh, I mean by weapon. If anybody ever studied Roman history, or what we call Eurocentric history, there was one point in their history where they had a hard time in regards to population of people during the time of Rome. And the reason why the population kind of stifled, because a lot of the men did not want to have no intercourse with their women. They were having a good old time with their themselves and children. And the governor or the person that ran Rome at the time had to step in and put laws in place to force the Roman soldiers or Roman men to have intercourse with Roman women. Now, mind you, the government had to step in to put things in place to save their population. Because during the time, Roman people, if y'all know Europeans, Roman, the same thing, don't want to engage in procreation activities. They don't like that. They like it to a point, but that's not their thing. So if the government during them times had stepped in to save their so-called Roman population people, what do you think now in the 21st century, or actually 20th century going on to the 21st century, they do now? They use old tactics that find that things that will work in regards to controlling and stifling populations. They already know they're not growing, and they've been declined for decades, where they're now at the negative. So what they do, they go back, resort to old habits or ways to put in place for not just the regular existing population amongst their own race or their species, but to put it on another set of people that they want to not only control but slowly get rid of. Not completely, but still have a little bit, which are the ADOS people here in the West we call America, and push it globally. Anybody else that's black. So the LGBTQ movement is a form of what we call use as that extra eugenics for population control. And how people can prove it? Look at everything that's put in place right now. A lot of so-called ADOS people, black people, are very mad that these people got their reparations. And which really is like a little check for unpaid payments for put them as people of marriage. They didn't get their payments when they in regards to tax write-off. They're gonna get it now because that was something they already set aside years ago. And while they look at people that are ADOS people that's descendant slaves of this country, they sit there and say we're gonna have a hearing to see if you should get reparations, if it should be discussed. But it's gonna be a time where they're gonna probably give people, black people in this country, something. I'm not sure when it's gonna happen, but I'll tell you one thing: these non-black people are already trying to put themselves and represent themselves as say that some are black.
Right.
Am I right, Amiri?
Yeah, but you know what? Like that whole thing, there's always this push by the media, dominant society to minimize the legacy of black suffering in America at the hands of of a racist system. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all liberals have done is they've been effective at using black suffering and black marginalization and disenfranchisement. They've been good at using that as a springboard for their own quack and far left moves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And there's been this push and this campaign socially, culturally, politically, and now we're seeing it economically, where the country itself is shifting farther to the left. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's shifting from its conservative or right wing disposition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the mainstream itself is becoming more radicalized along, leftist ideas and liberal views. And the engine for that has been, um, black people, black suffrage.
Yeah.
They've been good. They've been good at doing that. Fucking talking about giving these people reparations. Reparations for what? Are you serious? Like, this is like it's asinine and ridiculous. But then when it comes to ADOS and their reparations and what they do, they want to have a meeting. They want to have a hearing. Like we've been fully sold out by this congressional black caucus, and not congressional, congressional. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you have. There's a bunch of Sambos and fucking coons who go there and they whore themselves out to these lobbyists and to these leftist organizations at the expense of the larger black population and black populace. You know what I mean? And it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The gay reparations. Are you like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, there haven't been any laws on the books that systematically or institutionally disenfranchise gay people. I mean, when you look at, even if we're gonna say, okay, well, they weren't married, sex and things like that. Like, man, when you and I were talking earlier, okay, well, how do we define, who's a gay person and who's not? Because you have men who would consider themselves to be heterosexual, but they engage in gay activity, homosexual, activity. So, are they gay? Should they get it? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's so ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And right now, if I had to, just get my honest assessment of it, I think the most destructive force in American society right now is liberalism.
No one ever talk about that.
Right. I mean, they're breaking down the very fabric of American society, of human biological evolution. You see what I'm saying? Like, even because I was having a discussion with some women the other day when they like this whole thing where women, these sisters get offended when you call them female, as if female is a derogatory term.
Wow.
But they'll get offended that you call them a female, but then they'll wear bad bitch or boss bitch as a badge of honor. And you have to really think about, that psychosis and that logic. You see what I mean? Like, you really have to think about that, process that. What are they really saying? Because everybody knows what a bitch is. A bitch is a female dog. But you'll take that. You'll take that moniker. You'll take that on. But then if a brother or a man says female, all of a sudden it's supposed to be negative, and that's so fucking hypocritical. Because out one side of their mouth, what they'll say is, oh well, gender isn't a biological reality. It's a social construct, right? This is what they say. Well, it's the social construct. But then they'll turn right around and say, oh well, don't call me female because there's female cats, there's female lions, there's female rats. So wait a minute. If we're going off the basis of gender being a social construct, then that means it's in the purview of society and the members of society. What does it mean? What does that term mean? See, animals don't understand gender the same way we do. You know what I'm saying? Like a female lion doesn't view herself in the same way that we would. These are morphologies we assign to these different species, but they don't understand gender the same way we understand it. In that context, gender is a social construct because this is the way we understand ourselves, and this is the way we perceive our external environment. You know what I mean? And that's what I was trying to explain to them. But so you have like all these quack theories. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And see what it really is. What they want to do, they want to divorce womanhood from femininity and they want to divorce it from femaleness. You see what I mean? Like this is what is at the root of a lot of this bullshit. So you can have someone like Bruce Jenner who changes himself into Caitlyn, and then everybody try and give him like that year he got Woman of the Year, Most Beautiful Woman, whatever bullshit it was. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, I heard about that dumb shit.
Of the mindset. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, and you know you can't say nothing. Like these individuals are protected classes.
Yes.
They're protected classes.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not. Like we're not protected classes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so they've used black people and black suffering and black plight as the host carrier for their own agendas and to give momentum in life to their own bullshit causes. They just did it with this reparations thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because initially when we were talking with the context of reparations and that was going on in Washington, it was dealing with ADOS. Now all of a sudden here it is. Oh well, you know what? We got to give reparations to the gays too. But you get that passed, but all you want to do for ADOS people is just have a fucking meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of the Democrats. Like these motherfuckers are whack, man. I'm sick of them. I'm tired of them. I really am, man.
One question, Mary. Isn't the Democrats, are they most of the House right now? Democrats? Aren't they the most in the seats? I think they are.
They might be. Yeah, I think that. Normally after an election, after those first 2 years, and they come back for the midterm, whatever party has the White House, they either lose the Senate or the House of Representatives. Now, when Obama was elected, there was a rewriting of a lot of the government and municipalities of American of American society. The majority of the governorships, well, they already were, but majority of the governorships rewrited. A lot of the municipalities rewrited. The House of Representatives rewrited. You know what I mean? Because it was a part of a backlash to this, to the other. And what they used as the mascot and the facade for that was blackness. But if we wanted to be honest, Obama isn't black. Culturally and socially, politically, he's not black. And the policies he pushed reflects that. There's a reason why Time Magazine came out and called him the first gay president. Yeah. A lot of the progress and headway that's been made in favor of the LGBTQ community started with Barack Obama, while he then turned around and showed a disdain and indifference to what black people continue to go through. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially with these high profile
murders.
Murders of police. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing like with this ties in with Colin Kaepernick, the NFL boycott. That shit was. I wasn't support it from the beginning because it was something that's unnecessary, because the NFL does not determine public policy. So now you got everybody focusing on the NFL, but nobody is focusing on the policymakers. See, when you had a few cops who had got fired on during that time period, they came up with a law. They came up with a policy. Where now, if you this whole Blue Lives Matter thing, like if you committed, assault a police officer or whatever the case is, that's deemed a hate crime. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's deemed a hate crime. So they took steps and got policies passed. It didn't take them, marching or none of that other stuff. Like that stuff is irrelevant. Now, see, and this is what allows benign neglect to prosper and flourish. It's this idea of social justice that allows benign neglect to operate and to function as effectively as it does. See, they like that social justice bullshit is bullshit. You know what I mean? It's bullshit. Yeah. Like if 10 years from now they'll be talking about they be having a social justice movement for roaches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or dogs.
Like roaches matter. You know, like and what they'll do to and what they'll use to give that quack movement momentum is something happening to black people. See the way that black guy was killed by the cop? That's the same way they do roaches. So give us some money so we can protect roaches. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what they do, man. Fuck them mothers, man. Like, and I remember a few years ago I was having a conversation or a debate with some people Facebook group, and I'm trying to tell these stupid ass niggas, you know what I'm saying, that you gotta stop just blindly voting for the Democrat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if they know they can take your vote for granted, that's what the hell they're gonna do.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna do. If it's no, you know, no specter of them losing black support or the black vote, then they're going to neglect you, man. And that's what they've been doing that shit for 50-something years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you say that, oh, you're a Sambo, it's stupid, man. And then we wonder why we stand in the position that we're in.
Yeah.
No, you have to be able to leverage
your vote.
Leverage that vote. You have to be able to leverage it. And then if people would be like, well, the Asians don't do this, the Asians don't do that. No, the Asians have entire home countries, man, sovereign countries that
then go back.
Advocates for them. See, like the relationship that China has with America affords Chinese immigrants to come here and get certain benefits, so they don't have to worry about the fucking politics.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to worry about voting because they have China. Same thing with the Koreans. Same thing with the Vietnamese. Same thing with the Japanese. Your dumb ass doesn't have that. You don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be more engaged than any other group because your home country is the one that's disenfranchising you. That's common sense. You know what I'm saying? That's common sense. But you can't. You know how we are. You can't tell niggas that. And what it is, it's laziness too.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us are lazy and don't want to do, what's really required. So that whole social justice thing and sitting there and Kaepernick kneeling and trying to protest, that shit didn't mean amount to a hill of fucking beans. It was a waste of time.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, that's why I was sitting right there watching football the whole time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing this. Ain't the 1960s, man. It's not the 1960s. That shit doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If Colin Kaepernick wanted to help, he should have put together a super PAC. If that's the case, but sitting there signing protest to the flag, that's not doing anything. That's not moving the needle one iota on what the issue at hand is.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
That's just the way I felt. You know, I felt about this, like the same thing with, Jay-Z and all. It's like, I mean, this is business.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Jay-Z. I was watching a clip by Dame Dash. And guys, I'm gonna try to see if I add Discord if y'all want to come up and conversate. With Dame Dash, he said best when he was interviewed by this particular gentleman. He said he mentioned Dame said Jay-Z has made some deals with the NFL. He cut him off right there. Said, okay, he made a deal. What was the deal about? He said no, he's made a deal. No, what was the deal about? What's details? He said I don't know. He just made it. So right there, he could be working for the NFL like an employee.
Right.
He's not owning enough, no power position. People don't know. Remember when they asked him about the details, he wasn't really giving no debt. But first of all, if the NFL looks to you and gave you something, right? It's gonna be something that is gonna be at least because you are a billionaire. Last time I checked, where you could potentially own something and run a team on a team.
Right.
All I hear is that they say he got shares, but that don't mean nothing. I want to know what has he owned, because mind you, a lot of people run game on a lot of people because a lot of people sit there, see the highlights, and here say he's a person but don't know the details. Dame Dash is a businessman. I want people to understand this. And when he does business, he does boss moves. He don't do something that's for a little paycheck. He's doing something for something greater.
Right.
That was one thing he emphasized to the guy that was interviewing, and he didn't really get it. He seemed like he get it, but really, truly, he don't get it.
Right.
Because they glamour. It's like, and mind you, he's just one black man, and he already see the big picture. Why other Negroes not seeing this? Because they see that he's JC, he's popular, he's doing something. No, the fuck he's not.
Yeah.
Look at Death Row. Death Row is owned, and I shouldn't really talk about this because this is foolishness. But I'm just gonna mention to y'all that's listening now to go off subject a bit. Death Row is owned by Hasbro now, a toy company.
Wow.
But people don't understand that Death Row was never theirs from the start. Because, like my good friend Crumb Snatcher interviewed one dude, and I wish I could play this so y'all can hear it while I'm talking, but that'll be in a future broadcast. That the one thing a lot of these black artists that own little small labels from under other third party, companies, right? They really want to go out and control the distribution of their products, i.e., the music. That's where they were leaning towards ownership, real control. Because if you distribute and make the product, you're in control of it. Once they start butting heads to make that happen, this is where the taxation comes in play. Police start coming there and all this stupid shit.
Right.
Why? Because the people that really got money, that's in the corporation that you work for, will send them the people to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. They said the lot of entertainers that go on Vlad TV, once they come on Vlad TV, and I'm not lying to y'all, they get informants. Police come on, start taking notice of things they did years ago on the radar after being interviewed by Vlad TV.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, but
yeah, no, let me finish. Y'all motherfuckers are stupid as fuck. Why the fuck? You deal with a race people, especially one that's not party race, have you tell all your business so he can sit there and have that sent to the real people to get you fucked up. I end my case. I done my case. You know what I'm saying? But you want to say something? I mean,
I gotta make a
All right.
Another phone call. I'll call you back.
All right, cool. All right, thanks.
All right.
Yeah. So one second, people. Let me do this. So, not to get off subject, but we were off subject a little bit, but we back on to it. Sex is a powerful thing. Another thing, not only LGBTQ using these type of push movements to get people to not only deal with alternate lifestyles, whether changing their sex or engage in same-sex activities, which is like homosexual sex, as y'all familiar. That's another form of population control, especially now, as you know that they're increasing the contraceptives. They're eventually gonna make a birth control thing for men to implant in them, so that they sit there don't have to worry about busting seeds into women. But it's like this, with sex and the controlling sex, you're able to control population of people, and everybody knows sex is a very powerful thing. Why do you think in media they push sex more than anything else? Because not only a distraction, but it's to keep you off your actual purpose as a man and woman on what you're trying to do. Because if you only have one set on your mind, you're not in a I would say in a place to really start thinking critical or do things that will be better yourself or what's going on in your particular environment, where certain things are put in place, certain moves politically and all stuff that you might don't see under your nose are put in place. But most people are not focused because they focus on just getting some, and they promote it more heavily to people here in the West. And when they promote it now, they promote it also by engaging intercourse with other races of people. So you create more of a mulatto class to really hopefully buffen up a dying population of people not only in the West but globally, because miscegenation is also a form of population control in a sense. And I say in a sense because down like most children that come from two different racial parents, depending on who that racial parents they come out of, most like the children that are mixed, most likely will sit there procreate more with people that are, I would say, less recessive in the genetic pool. Y'all know what I'm talking about? People that are non-black, they will procreate more and create more less recessive people, i.e., children that will grow the people, and eventually you produce what you call, non-black, and eventually you go back and have the same problem like we see now, and that's not a form of population control. Um, so I think I covered pretty much everything. Unless I forgot something, somebody could hit me up on the chat button. But I think that's pretty much everything that I lay out. How they could accomplish from reducing the existing population down to either 4 billion, which is a half, or down to 500,000 people. Oh, and one other thing I will say is, let's say if they get the population to a respectable manageable number, what would this look like? Okay, let's think on this, people. Let's say they want to reduce 7.7 billion people to 4 billion people. Who will be left in regards to racial people? As y'all know from this demographics that they show here, they did not include a lot of African people or African descent people. Now let's go up. Try and find a number. All right, let's say right now we have all right, good. Let's say we have right now Asian people, particularly Chinese people. They're 1.42 billion. And then we have Indians, which is not another race of people. That's a combination of existing race of people, particularly black and white. They are roughly 1.37 billion. Next, we have the United States of America, where it says roughly is 329 million, which I'm probably gonna double check now. I think it's greater than that. Let me check now. Let me Wikipedia this. Population of the United States. Of USA. Okay, well they're right. It is 329 million. Okay, so they're on the money. So we have to check no more. All right. Indonesia, which is also some part of Asia, they have 269 million. And then we have Brazil, which it says the second largest in black population with 212 million. Indonesia and Brazil, which is part of South America. So let's say if we want 4 billion people, and this is my assessment, so y'all don't have to quote me on this. The total people, if they will want on the average roughly, let's say 1.5 billion non-black people, particularly people that are Caucasian, which is a race. The other billion, or really less than a billion per se, but screw it. Let me go a little raw. Let's scratch that. Let's say because always the European or the Caucasoid want to be really still in control. And usually by control is not only institutions and controlling certain arenas, but want to be controlled in regards to be the more majority population wise on the earth. And say 1.5 billion, let's say he is 3 billion. Everybody else from the Asian Indians will say roughly 1 point, I would say 1.5 billion. And the black race, or what they call Africans, they want roughly 500 million. Or really, 500 million. I'm right. And let me use my calculator. Let me see if I get 4 billion. Because I always gotta double check the numbers for anything I do. And it looks like it matches out, because if I take 3 billion all right, plus 1.5 billion plus 500 billion. Well, it's roughly more than that, but I probably was off a bit because 3 billion, 1 billion. So really, truly, my fault. My math is wrong. And let's say 3 billion Caucasoids will be one. Everybody else will be 5 billion. Will be actually 500 million, and that is a projection of if he wants to, where he wants to see of a so-called managing population, if what he wants with the things I present early in the stream, if he implement, which he's doing now, to reduce the population to a manageable number from close to 8 billion to 400 billion. He would rather be the majority, which is in the billions, if there is a billion of non-black people in the world, which I doubt it. That's another story. He want to be 3 billion strong. Everybody else is 500 million. Now that's the side on that side dealing with the billion side. But let's say we want to go to more extreme and cut it down further. From instead of close to 8 billion, he wants to reduce it to 500 million. And last time I checked, he wanted really 500,000, but there's no way in hell he's gonna get 500,000. To keep it real with y'all, cause that's too much of a plateau. The only way you're gonna get it to billions to under millions and respectful to 500, the whole Earth has a serious devastation. There has to be certain what we call disasters globally, where earthquakes happen, serious explosions, volcanic eruptions, splitting of certain continents. That's the only way you're gonna reduce the population to way beyond half, to kill or eliminate billions of people. Well, let's say they want 500 million. How many will be left? Well, that's simple. The same rules apply. There will be 300 million, which really is 329 million here in America. So if we cut the 29 million, they want to be the majority on the globe, 300 million strong globally. Everybody else, other non-whites, particularly Asians, they want they could deal with 100 million, and everybody else, other and black, 500 apiece. So that is the assessment and projection of how they want, if they want population to be down from close to 8 billion down to either 4 billion to 500 million. And I changed my wording in regards to the thousands because there's no way hell he's going to get 1,000. There has to be disasters globally to have the population reduced more than half. But in regards to reasonable numbers, that is the projection he wants to see. So I guess I have no questions, or check in the chat room if anybody has some questions. I will end this here. Well, actually, before I end it, let me see if I can do one more thing. Okay. Hmm. I'm trying to do something here. All right. Well, I can't figure out the Discord. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna end it here. I'd like to thank everybody for watching tonight's session. Please share, comment, subscribe, and like the video. There was a lot said on here. Amiri Joseph or Amiri Brown, the Great Liberator, came by today. Thank you for calling in, giving your take, because a lot of people have not heard you in a while. It's good to hear from you again, brother. And let me check. And always, leave a comment to every video. I will put the extra additional links to the stream. Oh yeah, you also can find me on Anchor, which let me put down now where Anchor is. I'm gonna find the link. Okay, I found it. So let me see. Actually, this is what I would do better. For all those that are watching, if you want to ask me any questions or future shows, please hit me up on Twitter and Anchor. No, actually, hit me on Twitter. If you post a question in my message box, or a comment on what you like about the show or anything I should look into, I'll look into it and I'll see if I can make that happen, which I'll drop now. No. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, this is my Twitter. Hold on. And I'll put it in the comment section at the end of this video. So if you have any questions or anything like that, you can hit me up on Twitter. I'll leave other details at the end of this video. But like always, let the chaos reign.